Welcome into Palmetto Sports Daily on this Wednesday. We're running the three-man weave today. Kevin Bilodeau in Charleston, Rick Henry joining us from Columbia, and Ella Grogan joins us from the Upstate. And we start off with college baseball. We are just a couple of days away from the NCAA regionals kicking off all around the country, including down in Atlanta, where the Citadel going to be heading for their first regional appearance in 16 years. 2010 was the last time they went to Columbia for a regional, so the Bulldogs long overdue for a postseason berth, and of course they earned it by just sweeping through the Southern Conference tournament in the Upstate last week. They earned this spot, and now we'll open things up Friday afternoon when they take on Oklahoma. Georgia Tech playing host for this regional bracket. They'll be playing Illinois, Chicago in the first round. And of course, how the brackets work, the two losers of those games on Friday will face off on Saturday. The two winners will face off on Saturday as well. And then it'll work its way into Sunday and possibly Monday as well. Of course, the Citadel coming off, like I said, just a huge run in the SoCon tournament last week, and their first NCAA tournament appearance in 2010. Of course, their biggest tournament appearance ever came back in 1990 when they made it all the way to Omaha and a trip to the College World Series. We asked head coach Russell Triplett earlier this afternoon if he remembered that run at all, as he was just a fan.
And in order to do that, you got to play a tough schedule, but it also creates the right environments that doesn't make the moment too big. And if they don't feel different when they suit up for a regional than any other time, they're not human. And it's just like playing for a championship. But, you know, I think the opportunity to be a part of the field and what every kid dreams of is playing in Omaha and the chance to go to Omaha. And you got to get in the 64 to have that chance, so we've got as good a chance as anyone.
Now, the big deal for the Cid right now is going to be their ace, Will Holmes, who you saw right there. Holmes actually pitched twice in that SoCon tournament last week, so they're not sure if he's going to be ready to go for Friday's game against Oklahoma or if they're going to try to hold him for the winners or losers matchup on Saturday, where they could be facing either Georgia Tech or Illinois, Chicago. But that's going to be a big deal for them, guys, is how much their ace can prove to them and how much he can kind of keep the bullpen at bay and just at least put up some big innings to keep the bullpen rested as much as they can over the course of those first couple of days of the regional.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him all throughout that SoCon tournament. I live pretty close to Fluor Field, so I was popping over for work and also just to watch some good baseball because the Citadel was steamrolling people. It was an absolute blast to watch. I remember checking in on their stats on either Saturday or I believe it was either Friday or Saturday, and they were averaging 14 runs per game. I mean, as much as you want to rely on that ace, they have no problem on the offensive side of things, keeping things an even score, so I'm excited to watch them. We also have some excitement here in the Upstate, USC Upstate, making it for the second time in a row after making it just for the first time in program history to the NCAA tournament last year. So it's been really exciting to watch them embark on this journey. They had a crazy ride in these past couple months. It's been super interesting to talk to their coach and their players about. In the month of April, they lost 9 games in a row. At that point, they had no hopes really alive of making it to this NCAA tournament. They thought their season was over, but then something happened. A flip switched in May, and I was able to talk to Coach about that flipped switch and how that happened for them to now win 14 of their last 16 games and qualify for the NCAA regional and win the Big South tournament just this past weekend. Here's what he had to say about it.
We had a Wednesday practice that was horrendous, and I kicked the team off the field, was not happy with them, and this is just me being honest. And we kind of had a heart-to-heart meeting that night because we had to come back and put the tarp on. And then we showed up Thursday and had a really good practice, and then we played Friday, and we scored a bunch of runs and threw the ball really well against Gardner-Webb. And it was at that moment where I felt like our team was like, okay, we're still really good, and it kind of relaxed everybody and settled everybody back down. And then the belief just continued to grow from there. I think they always believed that they could do it, but we needed a couple wins to get there, and finally got a couple wins that weekend that kind of led us on this run we've had here in May.
One thing Coach Sweeney said yesterday after the bus was, get ready to have the best week of your lives. So it'll be fun. Practice will be great. It'll be high energy. We're not just going there to show up. We're going there to win. So, yeah, it'll be great.
Well, their best week of their lives begins today. They are jumping on the buses probably just right now as we speak and heading over to Tuscaloosa in that Alabama regional. They're going to be facing Oklahoma State first on Friday. I love watching these mid-major smaller schools get into the spirit here and just get excited, and just hearing him say it's going to be the best week of our lives just brings a smile on my face, Rick. It's just so exciting for these smaller schools.
Yeah, good luck to those schools, too. I mean, the Citadel, USC Upstate, Coastal Carolina. And I was just here sitting and thinking about, wow, it has become really strange that South Carolina you can't pencil them into the big dance every year, because in Ray Tanner's last 13 years as the coach of USC, they made the playoffs every year. They played in 10 super regionals and went to Omaha 6 times. But for both South Carolina and Clemson to be sitting this one out seems a little weird. But, hey, we'll still be able to cheer on some South Carolina teams. Kevin?
Yeah, and Ellie, you talked about the run Upstate's gone over the last couple of weeks. Citadel's kind of done something similar. I think they had a Sunday loss to, I believe it was UNC Greensboro. And after that, they got a talking to from their coaches as well. And they've gone on to win 17 of the last 20 over the course of the last month and a half or so. So really, even though they finished 5th place during the regular season in the SoCon, it's just a matter of catching that lightning at the right time of the season. And they've done that. USC Upstate has done that. Coastal Carolina is kind of the outlier in that, because a team that was ranked in the top 10 for a good part of this season, they really seem to have kind of taken a step back this week, or over the last couple of weeks, as they get ready to go down to Tallahassee and take on Florida State in that regional at some point. So I'm a little bit more worried about Coastal than I even am the Citadel or USC Upstate, just because of the way they've been playing over these last couple of weeks. Especially, I think they lost 4 out of 5 to Louisiana from that last regular season series, and then a couple of losses to them also in that Sun Belt tournament. We've got more coming up here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. In our opening block, we talked about college baseball because it's big dance time on the diamond. So right now we're going to talk some college football, because here in the Palmetto State, we're talking college football year round. Now recently, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian said that he believes that every SEC football program is paying around $30 million for its roster. But then you go, wait a minute, schools have a cap of $20.5 million that they can pay their student athletes, and that covers every sport, a total of $20.5 million. Okay, but we know there's all those NIL side deals that athletes can get for themselves. And so USC head coach Shane Beamer was asked about it yesterday at the SEC meetings in Destin, Florida. And Shane didn't argue the $30 million figure. He said, really, the conversation that he has with other coaches and people involved in this process is like, okay, is probably everyone is close to around 30, and just how much are some schools exceeding that 30 million? Now, last week, the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, was in town, and I had a conversation with him about this subject. Could you coach in this era now with the NIL and transfer portal?
Well, you could, and if I was, I'd tell people I'd be doing what all these other coaches are doing, get your money guys lined up and try to proportionate how you shell the money out. And, some schools got those billionaire oil tycoon guys, and some don't. But I don't know. They keep it nice and private, because we don't know exactly what anybody pays out much. But I do wish there was a limit, and that would make it a lot more fair. At least recruiting could come back into play if you're a good recruiter.
Okay, some good points there by the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He says, some of these schools, they have these billionaire oil tycoons that can help them out, and you start thinking about Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Arkansas with the Walton family, Tyson Farms, and Jerry Jones. So, Kevin, how much money do you need to compete with the big boys in the SEC?
Wait, I'm confused because are we out here implying that some teams are doing underhanded things and spending more money than they're allowed to in college football? That can't be what we're implying here, guys.
Yeah, okay, but here's the caveat. You heard Steve say, well, we don't know how much people are getting from these NIL deals. And are there any rules against it? Like, hey, your star quarterback, he goes out and maybe he's there for 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday, greeting fans, signing autographs. There's no cap on what that auto dealership can pay him. And you see more and more athletes in commercials endorsing products, both on TV, the internet. So there's no telling, especially these big schools with the billionaire donors, how much these athletes are getting paid on the side. And Steve says he wish you could cap it somehow, but how can you cap it when there are no rules against how much people can get?
Well, the difference now, Rick, is at least these guys have to go and do these handshakes at a car dealership or do commercials. Before, they were just getting bags under the table. These guys are still getting the same money they were getting before. Now at least they're doing some semblance of work to try to earn it a little bit.
Well, it's like Ed Orgeron, the former LSU head football coach, who's now back with the LSU program. I heard him in an interview say, you know, back in the day, we used to walk in the back door with the cash. Now we're walking through the front door because it's out in the open. Yeah, I mean, look, college athletes, especially your football and basketball players, they've been getting paid for decades. So, but now, hey, it's all legit. And like you said, Kevin, we can see them out there at least earning some of that money. Ella?
Is it legit, though? I mean, I understand now all the cards are in front of us, but with the NIL, it's just there's no ceiling. We have no idea how it's being controlled. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when we're talking about the SEC NIL money is the Luke Ferrelli fiasco. I mean, sending a picture of a $2 million contract, and obviously that's NIL, but where's the line? I completely agree with the old ball coach that there needs to be a limit. Obviously, we have that $20.5 million limit, but the whole NIL situation of it all completely throws that out the window, in my opinion, Kevin. I don't know. You don't want to get me started on this.
Well, see, I disagree because what's the limit going to be? Let's say, okay, there's a $30 million limit. You don't think there's some coach or some school that's going to go back to going under the table and giving these guys as much as they want or as much as they need to bring these top guys in? There's no limit. The limit does not exist, as the saying goes. So what's the point of even setting one at this point? You're just going to pay a guy what you want. So just have no salary cap. Make it the Wild West. Let them pay whatever these guys are worth and whatever they're going to get. Just, you know, this is a prime time for these guys to be making money. So let them make the money.
Yeah, it's like it's always been like the Wild Wild West. But back in the day when you had to keep things under wrap, you were afraid that you may get caught and get put on probation. But now, since, hey, it's legal for the schools to give them money, up to that $20.5 million for the whole athletics department, and then, hey, out here on the side, fellas, go and put together, fellas and ladies, go out there and put together whatever deals you can make. And also, too, you know, Kevin, like back in the day, you'd have these middle folks, like coach would go and he'd talk to someone, how much do we need to get this player? They'd find out, bring it back. The coaches get together with whoever they needed to and say, hey, we need this if we want to really get this guy. And, you know, I've heard plenty of stories like that over the years about schools doing that. I mean, all over the region, all over the nation. So it's just
but see, that's the good
more
part
the same,
about now,
basically.
Rick, is that.
What's that?
But see, that's the good part, is that now those middlemen are out. We don't need the middlemen. Everything can be right in front of us. You know, there's nothing that's going to happen where we're going to catch a guy getting a house from an agent or something like that, or we're going to find a guy getting a bag of cash somewhere and he's going to be suspended and he's going to get kicked off the team or something. This is all legit at this point. I would much rather have it the way it is now than how it used to be, and you find out, oh, this guy got a payment or this guy's mom got a job she didn't deserve because they needed a starting linebacker over at, whatever school, fill in the blank school. So I like it now that things are way more out in the open. If a school wants to spend $30 or $40 million to put together a winning football team, good. Show you have the initiative to do that, and let's go and let's go on the field and win some football games and earn your money.
And also, you don't have all of these silly things that people could get in trouble with, like, say, a current player on a team gives a recruit a cap. Well, that happened at Clemson one time, and that was a violation. Or if a coach buys an athlete a hamburger, that's a violation. So I'm glad some of those rules are out the window. But yeah, the rich will only get richer. So what can you do? All right, good discussion there. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more of Palmetto Sports Day.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We got some good news yesterday at a Clemson press conference. Dabo Swinney and Heaven Brown-Schuler hosted a press conference yesterday morning discussing Heaven's diagnosis that he was told last week, or rather that we were told last week. He was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, but fortunately they caught it early. This was the first time that we were able to hear from him and get a direct update about how he's feeling, and things were very positive. Here's what both he and Coach had to say.
I really believe God is going to bless this young man in a tremendous way. I told him, I was like, everybody, you thought everybody would know you because you were a great D tackle at Clemson, but everybody's going to know you because of this situation. But so many people will be blessed by how you handle this situation. And so, again, long year ahead. And again, this time next year, hey, we're gonna be having a celebration as he's beat this, and he's back doing what he loves to do.
Blessed to be here today, and just to kind of put a face to a name and just let everybody know that I am okay and that I will be back next season to come back with a vengeance next season to do what I was recruited to do, and that's play football here.
Really positive to hear that update and that confidence that he will be back next season. He went on to explain all the support that he's been receiving over the past few weeks. He said that his mom from Atlanta actually shut down her nail salon so that she wouldn't miss a single appointment. They have a GoFundMe page that you can find on all of our websites that you can donate to help them out through these times. And then also, as we discussed yesterday on Palmetto Sports Daily, the support that he's been receiving from Steven Garcia has just been incredible and inspiring, Rick.
Yeah, I love seeing all that support as a cancer survivor myself. I know how important that is when people you don't even know, they reach out and they say they're praying for you and just sending love and good healing vibes your way. That really helps you in your battle because positivity plays a big role. So wish all the best for that young man and look forward to seeing him back out there playing football for the Tigers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I very confidently think that he is going to be back out there next season. That was his only goal. That was all he wanted to accomplish. He was telling us yesterday that he's actually already out on the field. He's participating in some workouts. He's cheering on his guys. You can't get that guy out of the locker room, and just so glad to see that support for him as he goes through this journey. We are going to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily and be back with more coming up.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We wrap up today with some hockey news and some surprising hockey news as there is a head coaching opening here in the Low Country. South Carolina Stingrays head coach David Warsofsky announcing earlier this afternoon that he is stepping down as the head coach of the Stingrays after just one season. Now, he led the team to a 45-23-1-3 record in his only year leading the program and got them to the second round of the playoffs. First time in, I believe, 4 years they made that second round. So no issues with how he worked with this team. I talked to President Rob Concannon a little bit earlier this afternoon. Concannon told me he was very satisfied with the job Warsofsky did on the bench this season, and this was more a situation of Warsofsky maybe not enjoying the coaching lifestyle and being on the bus as much, being away from his family, doing 3 road games in 3 different spots over the course of 3 different days. So this is more of a situation where he wants to do hockey development and just work with players a little bit more than just being in charge of a team. So Concannon told me there was no hard feelings. He kind of understood that this was a possibility when they hired Warsofsky a year ago. So now the problem for the Stingrays is they are in search of a head coach again. And it seems like this is becoming an annual thing for the Stingrays because ever since David's brother Ryan left about a decade ago, this will be their 7th head coach over the course of those 10 years. So a lot of uncertainty on the Rays bench. For so long it was the guys of Jason Fitzsimmons and Jared Bednar, who's now the head coach of the Colorado Avalanche. And here's the statement from Rob Concannon on David Warsofsky leaving. Said, during the end of our season meeting yesterday, David communicated to me that he really enjoyed coaching the Stingrays this past year, but at this time he wanted to explore other types of opportunities in hockey development. We appreciate David's hard work over the past season and wish him nothing but the best going forward. So, like I said, no hard feelings either which way, but a surprising move. We thought after David's brother Ryan had spent a couple of years with the Stingrays before making his move to the AHL and eventually the NHL, where he's now the head coach of the San Jose Sharks. Thought David might spend a little bit more time here, but if head coaching is not for him, then it's probably better he just gets out of it now and starts working on hockey development, and the Stingrays can hopefully bring in a guy who's going to want to stay on the bench for more than just a season or two. That's going to wrap it up for Palmetto Sports Daily. We're going to see you back here tomorrow. Everyone, have a great rest of your day.